Welcome back to Driveline TV. Today, we're diving into a topic that's bound to stir up some heated debates, whether you're a car enthusiast or just someone who loves the open road. We're asking the question, is driving for fun dead? With the rise of electric vehicles, autonomous cars, and increasingly strict environmental regulations, the world of driving is undergoing a massive transformation. Some people say the thrill of driving has been pushed aside by these changes. Others argue that we're entering a whole new era of automotive excitement. In this video, we'll explore how environmental concerns have impacted car culture. We'll debate whether driving for fun is becoming a thing of the past or if it's just taking on a new form. From the golden age of classic cars to the futuristic promise of self-driving vehicles, this is going to be a deep dive into one of the most controversial questions in the automotive world today. But this isn't just about facts and figures, it's about passion. Because for many, driving has always been more than just a way to get from point A to point B. It's about freedom, adventure, and that irreplaceable feeling of being in control of a powerful machine. So, buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and get ready for an epic journey as we debate, is driving for fun dead? Let's get into it! Before we get into the nitty-gritty of environmental concerns and how they're reshaping the car world, let's take a trip down memory lane and talk about the golden era of driving for fun. Back in the day, cars weren't just machines to get you from point A to point B, they were symbols of freedom, adventure, and pure joy. Think about it, the open road, the wind in your hair, and nothing but endless miles ahead. Whether you were tearing through a winding mountain road or cruising down Route 66, there was a magic to driving that just felt different. In the mid-20th century, cars became icons. Models like the Ford Mustang, the Chevy Corvette, and the Porsche 911 weren't just vehicles, they were a way of life. The powerful roar of a V8 engine, the perfectly timed shifts of a manual transmission, and the thrill of feeling every curve of the road made driving a passion for many. Car culture didn't stop at driving solo. Car clubs exploded in popularity, with people coming together to share their love for their machines. Whether it was classic muscle cars, exotic imports, or sleek European sports cars, there was a club for every type of enthusiast. For the gearheads, weekends were filled with tuning, modding, and swapping stories about their latest upgrades. The connection between driver and car was so deep that some enthusiasts treated their cars like family members. In fact, some of the most iconic movies and shows of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, like Bullitt and Knight Rider, glorified this love for cars and the excitement of driving. Then came racing culture. The rise of drag strips, rallying, and street racing defined the fun of driving for an entire generation. Think about it, the adrenaline rush of pushing a car to its limits, racing against time, or squaring off against another driver, those were moments where driving transcended mere transportation and became a form of expression. From NASCAR to Le Mans, the world of motorsport allowed drivers to live out their fantasies of speed and competition. Road trips were another significant part of car culture. In the 50s and 60s, hitting the road for a cross-country adventure became a rite of passage. Families would pack their cars to the brim and set off on a journey across states, visiting national parks, roadside diners, and quirky tourist attractions along the way. It wasn't just about reaching the destination, it was about the journey. The car became an extension of the travel experience itself. Whether you were taking a leisurely cruise down the Pacific Coast Highway or testing your limits on the Autobahn, there was something uniquely thrilling about the unpredictability of the road ahead. And then, of course, there were the cars themselves. From the 1960s to the 1980s, manufacturers produced models that would go on to become legends. The Ford Mustang, with its sleek design and raw power, became an instant hit. The Ferrari 250 GTO was not only beautiful but also a beast on the track. Even the humble Volkswagen Beetle, with its quirky charm, became a cultural icon. These cars weren't just status symbols, they were a reflection of the times. They captured the spirit of rebellion, freedom, and individuality. And more importantly, they made driving fun. These were the cars that made people fall in love with the road, and to this day, they hold a special place in the hearts of car enthusiasts. For many, driving was also a form of escape. It allowed people to disconnect from the stresses of daily life and find solace on the open road. When you were behind the wheel, the world around you faded away, leaving you with just the hum of the engine and the promise of whatever lay beyond the horizon. In pop culture, this idea of driving as freedom was immortalized in countless songs and movies. From the Eagles' Take It Easy to Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run, driving represented a way to break free from the monotony of everyday life. Now, as we look back at this golden age of driving, it's easy to wonder, is that era gone forever? With the shift toward eco-consciousness and the rise of electric vehicles, it might seem like the days of purely driving for fun are fading into the rearview mirror. But don't worry, because the debate is far from over. While the landscape of driving may be changing, there are still plenty of people who hold on to the love of the open road. And as we move forward, we'll dive into how environmental concerns are shaping the future of driving and whether there's still room for that pure, unfiltered joy we once found in cars. Now that we've taken a nostalgic look back at the golden age of driving for fun, let's fast forward to today. Over the past few decades, the conversation around cars has shifted from horsepower and acceleration to emissions, efficiency, and the environmental impact of our vehicles. The world is facing undeniable challenges related to climate change, and transportation is a major contributor. According to studies, transportation accounts for nearly a quarter of global CO2 emissions, with passenger vehicles being a significant part of that. Governments, automakers, and environmental activists have taken notice, leading to sweeping changes in how we think about driving. So, how has this shift toward eco-consciousness impacted the joy of driving? Is driving for fun becoming a casualty of the environmental movement, or is there still room for enthusiasts in a greener world? It's no secret that the growing awareness of climate change has made its way into nearly every aspect of our lives, and cars are at the forefront of this movement. Emissions from gas-powered vehicles have been linked to rising global temperatures, air pollution, and a host of other environmental problems. As a result, many countries have implemented stringent regulations to reduce carbon footprints. In places like Europe, where the environmental movement has strong momentum, cities are already taking aggressive measures to curb emissions. For instance, London's ultra-low emission zone charges drivers of older, higher-polluting vehicles extra fees just to drive in certain areas. The idea is to incentivize drivers to switch to cleaner vehicles or use public transportation. Meanwhile, other nations, like Norway, are leading the charge by offering significant incentives to drivers who choose electric vehicles. In Norway, EVs make up the majority of new car sales, driven by the government's goal of becoming a zero-emission society by 2025. While these initiatives are crucial in the fight against climate change, there's no doubt they've sparked concern among car enthusiasts. Many feel that these changes are pushing the thrill of driving to the side, with fun and freedom being sacrificed in the name of environmental responsibility. Is it possible to find a balance? One of the most significant changes in the automotive industry has been the growing push to phase out the internal combustion engine. Traditional gas-powered engines have been the heart and soul of cars for over a century, but the reality is that they produce harmful emissions, including CO2, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter. As a result, governments around the world have introduced stricter emission standards that are forcing automakers to rethink the design of their vehicles. For instance, the European Union's Euro 6d standard requires cars to meet incredibly low limits for NOx emissions. Meanwhile, in the United States, the corporate average fuel economy standards have been steadily tightening, with new regulations pushing automakers to improve fuel efficiency and reduce emissions. While these standards are vital in reducing the environmental impact of cars, they've sparked a heated debate. Many drivers argue that these rules are making cars less exciting to drive. Engines are being downsized, and turbochargers are being used to meet emission requirements, often at the expense of the raw power that enthusiasts crave. The growl of a naturally aspirated V8 is being replaced by the quieter hum of smaller, more efficient engines. And then, of course, there's the looming ban on the sale of new internal combustion engine vehicles altogether. Countries like the UK, France, and even California have announced plans to ban the sale of new gasoline and diesel cars by 2030 or 2035. This means that the traditional, gas-powered cars that once defined driving fun are on borrowed time. For many enthusiasts, this feels like the end of an era. But is it really? Or is this just the beginning of a new chapter? With the push to reduce emissions, electric vehicles, EVs, have risen to the forefront of the automotive industry. And while EVs are often touted for their environmental benefits, the question remains, are they fun to drive? In the early days of EVs, the answer from car enthusiasts was often a resounding no. Early electric cars like the Nissan Leaf were seen as boring, uninspiring, and focused purely on efficiency. But fast forward to today, and the landscape has changed dramatically. Enter Tesla, the brand that almost single-handedly changed the perception of electric cars. With models like the Tesla Model S, Tesla proved that electric cars could be both eco-friendly and fast. We're talking 0 to 60 miles per hour in less than 2 seconds fast. Suddenly, EVs were no longer just about reducing your carbon footprint, they were also about blowing past the competition at a red light. And it's not just Tesla. Automakers like Porsche, Audi, and even Ford have jumped into the EV game with high-performance models like the Porsche Taycan and the Ford Mustang Mach-E. These cars are proving that electric vehicles can be thrilling to drive, with instant torque that provides a different kind of excitement from traditional gasoline engines. But for many driving purists, EVs still lack something that can't be measured in numbers: the visceral experience of driving. The sound of the engine, the feel of shifting gears, and the mechanical connection between driver and machine are elements that electric cars simply don't offer. While EVs might be fast, they're often criticized for being too sterile, too quiet, and too disconnected from the raw thrill of driving. Can EVs ever truly replace the fun of ICE vehicles, or is something essential being lost in the transition? As regulations tighten and the shift toward electrification accelerates, automakers are faced with a difficult balancing act. How do they create cars that are both environmentally friendly and exciting to drive? Many manufacturers are rising to the challenge by investing in hybrid technology, which combines the efficiency of electric motors with the driving dynamics of internal combustion engines. The Ferrari SF90 Stradale, for example, is a hybrid supercar that delivers blistering performance while also meeting stringent emission standards. Similarly, McLaren's Artura is another example of a high-performance hybrid that aims to bridge the gap between driving excitement and environmental responsibility. Then there's the concept of synthetic fuels. Porsche, in particular, has been at the forefront of developing e-fuels, which are synthetic, carbon-neutral fuels designed to be used in traditional internal combustion engines. The idea is that e-fuels could allow car enthusiasts to continue enjoying their gasoline-powered cars without the environmental guilt. While these innovations are promising, they raise a question: is it possible to have it all? Can automakers create cars that are both eco-friendly and fun to drive, or will the joy of driving always take a backseat to environmental concerns? As environmental concerns continue to reshape the automotive landscape, a divide has emerged between two camps: environmentalists and car enthusiasts. On one side, environmentalists argue that the transition to greener transportation is long overdue and that the future of the planet depends on it. They view the rise of electric vehicles and the phase-out of internal combustion engines as necessary steps to combat climate change. On the other side, car enthusiasts fear that the passion, freedom, and thrill of driving are being sacrificed in the name of sustainability. To them, cars are more than just transportation, they are an extension of identity, a source of joy, and a form of art. Losing the visceral experience of driving a powerful gas-powered car feels like losing a piece of themselves. This debate is complex, and both sides have valid points. Environmental concerns are real and urgent, but for millions of drivers around the world, cars are more than just machines, they are a way of life. So, how do we find common ground? Alright, we've talked about how environmental concerns are changing the landscape of driving. Now let's shift gears to something equally exciting: the future of cars. In recent years, electric vehicles and autonomous driving technology have taken the automotive world by storm, offering both promise and controversy. But here's the real question for car enthusiasts: can these new technologies still make driving fun? Or is the joy of driving being swapped for silent motors and self-driving algorithms? Buckle up, because we're about to explore how EVs and autonomous vehicles are changing what it means to drive. When we think about electric vehicles, the first word that often comes to mind is green. EVs have been widely embraced as the eco-friendly alternative to traditional gasoline-powered cars. But what's perhaps even more surprising is how EVs have also sparked a revolution in performance. In the early days of electric vehicles, efficiency was the name of the game. Cars like the Toyota Prius focused on fuel economy, not speed or excitement. But in recent years, EVs have evolved to deliver some jaw-dropping performance metrics. Take the Tesla Model S Plaid, for example. This electric beast can go from 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 2 seconds, making it one of the fastest production cars in the world. And it's not just about acceleration. Electric cars deliver instant torque, meaning power is available the moment you press the pedal. For drivers used to the lag of turbocharged engines, this can be a thrilling experience. Other automakers are getting in on the action, too. Porsche's Taycan Turbo S offers blistering performance with the build quality and handling you'd expect from a luxury sports car. The Rimac Nevera, a Croatian hypercar, boasts an astonishing 1,914 horsepower, making it one of the most powerful vehicles on the planet. These cars aren't just fast, they're redefining what performance means in the electric age. But here's the question, is all this performance enough to make driving an EV as fun as driving a gasoline-powered car? For some, the answer is a resounding yes. Electric cars offer a new kind of driving experience, one that's sleek, high-tech, and lightning fast. But for others, the silence of an electric motor simply can't compete with the roar of a V8 engine. This brings us to one of the most hotly debated topics in car culture today. Can electric vehicles capture the same emotional connection that gasoline-powered cars have offered for decades? While EVs might offer impressive performance stats, there's something intangible about the experience of driving a traditional car. It's not just about speed, it's about the sound, the vibration, the feel of the engine coming to life beneath you. Enthusiasts often describe the connection between driver and car as a kind of symbiosis, and for them, electric cars can feel too sterile, too disconnected from that raw mechanical experience. But on the flip side, younger generations are growing up with EVs as the new normal. For them, speed is speed, and the thrill of instantaneous power can be just as satisfying as the rumble of a V8. So, is the emotional connection to cars simply evolving with the times? It's a debate that will continue to rage as EVs become more widespread. While electric vehicles are already changing the game, the next frontier in the automotive world is autonomous driving. Self-driving cars once seemed like science fiction, but today, they're closer to reality than ever before. Companies like Tesla, Waymo, and Uber are investing billions into autonomous technology, and major automakers are racing to develop their own self-driving systems. For some, the idea of sitting back and letting the car do the driving is a dream come true. Imagine being able to relax, read a book, or even take a nap while your car chauffeurs you to your destination. No more traffic jams, no more parking stress. It sounds like a future filled with convenience. But for driving enthusiasts, this future might feel more like a nightmare. After all, what's the fun in driving if you're not actually driving? Autonomous cars threaten to take the thrill of the road out of our hands, replacing the joy of controlling a powerful machine with the passivity of being a passenger. For many, the act of driving is more than just getting from one place to another. It's about the experience, the focus, and the sense of control. To understand how close we are to fully autonomous driving, it's important to break down the different levels of autonomy. The Society of Automotive Engineers defines 5 levels of automation. Level 0, no automation, human driver controls everything. Level 1, driver assistance. Level 2, partial automation, driver must still be engaged. Level 3, conditional automation, driver can disengage in certain conditions, but must take over when required. Level 4, high automation, car can handle most driving tasks without human intervention, but driver can take control if needed. Level 5, full automation, no human driver required at all. Right now, most of the systems we see in cars are at level 2 or 3. Tesla's autopilot, for example, can assist with steering, braking, and lane changes, but the driver still needs to be attentive and ready to take control. Waymo, meanwhile, is testing level 4 self-driving cars that can operate without human input in limited conditions. As we move toward higher levels of autonomy, the question becomes, will drivers still have the option to drive manually, or will cars of the future be completely driverless? For many enthusiasts, the idea of losing the option to drive feels like a loss of personal freedom. But for others, the convenience and safety of autonomous cars outweigh the thrill of driving. As we look to the future, one thing is clear: the driving experience is evolving. But does this mean driving for fun is dead? Or could there be a new kind of excitement on the horizon? For some, the rise of EVs and autonomous cars doesn't spell the end of fun, it just means the fun is changing. Electric cars offer a different kind of performance, one that's more about instant power and cutting-edge technology than the raw, mechanical feel of traditional engines. And while autonomous cars might take over the mundane aspects of commuting, there's potential for new ways to enjoy driving when you want to. Imagine this: you're on your daily commute, stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic. Instead of stressing out, you engage the autonomous mode and let the car handle it while you catch up on work or relax. But later, when you're on a scenic back road, you switch to manual mode, take the wheel, and feel the thrill of controlling your car on winding roads. In this future, driving might become more of a choice, something you do for fun when the conditions are right, rather than a chore. Automakers are already working on cars that offer this kind of hybrid experience. Tesla's autopilot is a good example of how technology can assist with the boring parts of driving while still giving you control when it matters. Porsche's Mission are concept hints at a future where performance cars are electric but still deliver an exhilarating driving experience. For those who crave the adrenaline of driving, track days could become the new go-to experience. Imagine driving a high-performance car in a controlled environment where you can push the limits without worrying about traffic laws or emissions restrictions. Track days are already popular among enthusiasts, and as everyday driving becomes more automated, this could become the primary way people engage with the thrill of driving. Additionally, the rise of virtual racing and simulators offers a new way to experience the excitement of driving without leaving your home. Platforms like eRacing and Gran Turismo Sport have developed incredibly realistic racing simulators that allow drivers to experience high-speed thrills on some of the world's most famous tracks. As VR technology improves, we could see even more immersive experiences that bring the joy of driving into the digital world. Finally, let's address the environmental elephant in the room. For all the excitement around electric and autonomous vehicles, there's no escaping the fact that these technologies are being driven by environmental concerns. Reducing emissions and making transportation more sustainable are the key reasons why EVs and AVs are gaining momentum. But does this mean the fun has to be sacrificed in the name of sustainability? Not necessarily. While traditional car enthusiasts might feel a sense of loss as gas-powered engines fade away, there's no denying that electric cars offer a new kind of thrill. And as autonomous technology develops, it could allow for a world where driving becomes more of a choice, something you do when you want to, not when you have to. Ultimately, the future of driving fun might look very different from the past. But that doesn't mean it's gone, it's just evolving. And for many, the combination of cutting-edge technology, instant performance, and the freedom to choose when and how you drive could be the next chapter in the long, exciting history of car culture. As we look at the evolving landscape of the automotive world, one question remains at the heart of our discussion: what does the future hold for car culture? With the rise of electric vehicles, autonomous driving technology, and increasing environmental regulations, car enthusiasts are wondering whether there will still be room for the passion, community, and excitement that have defined car culture for over a century. But here's the thing: car culture has always been about more than just the cars themselves. It's about the people, the experiences, and the shared love of driving that brings us together. So, while the cars of tomorrow might look and feel different, the culture surrounding them is far from dead. In fact, it might just be entering a new and exciting chapter. Car meets and gatherings have been a cornerstone of car culture for decades. Whether it's a local Cars and Coffee event or a massive international car show, these gatherings offer enthusiasts a chance to showcase their rides, share stories, and bond over their shared love of automobiles. As we move into a future dominated by electric vehicles and autonomous cars, some might worry that these gatherings will lose their appeal. After all, much of the excitement at these events comes from seeing rare, powerful, and beautifully engineered gasoline-powered cars. Will people still gather to admire silent EVs with no roaring engines or custom exhausts? The answer might surprise you. Enthusiast communities are already adapting to the changing landscape. EV-specific car meets are popping up, with Tesla owners leading the charge. These events focus on the technology and performance of electric vehicles, with owners sharing tips on maximizing range, installing custom charging setups, and even modding their EVs to improve acceleration or handling. What we're seeing is the rise of a new generation of car enthusiasts who are just as passionate about electric vehicles as previous generations were about muscle cars or JDM imports. For these drivers, the thrill comes from the instant torque of an EV, the cutting-edge technology, and the challenge of pushing the limits of electric performance. In the same way that older car enthusiasts modded their engines or exhaust systems, this new wave of EV enthusiasts is finding ways to modify their cars for better performance, improved aesthetics, or enhanced sound systems. And with the rapid pace of technology, there are endless possibilities for customization. Software updates can unlock new features, while aftermarket upgrades allow for improved battery performance or aerodynamic efficiency. What's clear is that car culture is evolving, but the core elements, community, passion, and creativity, are still very much alive. Whether you're into the growl of a V8 or the whisper of an electric motor, there will always be a place for you in the world of car enthusiasts. In addition to real-world car meets, virtual car culture is booming. As technology continues to advance, car enthusiasts are increasingly turning to the digital world to fuel their passion for driving. Video games like Gran Turismo, Forza Horizon, and eRacing are more popular than ever, offering players the chance to race on realistic tracks with hyper-detailed cars. But it's not just about playing video games for fun. Sim racing has become a legitimate part of modern car culture. Sim racing, or simulation racing, offers a highly realistic driving experience that mimics the feel of real-world racing. Serious sim racers invest in high-end racing rigs, complete with steering wheels, pedals, and even motion seats that replicate the physical forces of driving. For many enthusiasts, sim racing offers a way to experience the thrill of driving without the costs or risks associated with real-world racing. And as virtual reality, VR, technology improves, these experiences are becoming even more immersive. Imagine strapping on a VR headset and racing through the streets of Monaco or drifting through the corners of the Nürburgring, all from the comfort of your own home. But it doesn't stop there. Car manufacturers are also getting involved in virtual car culture. Brands like Ferrari, Porsche, and Mercedes-AMG are creating virtual versions of their cars for sim racing platforms, allowing players to experience their vehicles in a digital environment. Some manufacturers even host official esports competitions, where the best sim racers in the world compete for prizes and recognition. As the lines between the physical and virtual worlds blur, sim racing is offering a new kind of fun for car enthusiasts. Whether you're racing against friends or competing in global tournaments, the thrill of driving is alive and well in the digital realm. Customization has always been a huge part of car culture. Whether it's upgrading your engine, installing a new exhaust system, or adding custom body kits, modding cars has been a way for enthusiasts to express their personality and make their vehicles stand out. But with the rise of electric vehicles, the world of car customization is facing some big changes. While traditional ICE cars offered endless possibilities for mechanical upgrades, EVs present a new challenge. The electric motor and battery system are fundamentally different from a gasoline engine, meaning that traditional mods like turbochargers, superchargers, and exhaust upgrades are off the table. But that doesn't mean the end of customization, it just means the game is changing. Electric vehicles may not have the same kinds of mechanical upgrades as gasoline cars, but they offer unique opportunities for software-based customization. For example, Tesla owners can install software updates that improve their car's performance, range, or handling. Some companies are even offering aftermarket software mods that unlock hidden features or enhance the driving experience. Beyond software, EV owners are also getting creative with exterior customization. Custom wraps, wheels, and aerodynamic body kits are becoming popular ways to make electric cars stand out. Additionally, the interior of EVs, with their high-tech dashboards and minimalist designs, offers a new canvas for customization, from upgrading sound systems to adding ambient lighting. For those who love the performance side of driving, electric cars can be modified to enhance their acceleration, improve their handling, or even add artificial engine sounds to give drivers that visceral feeling they crave. The future of car customization might look different, but the creativity and passion of enthusiasts will continue to thrive. Motorsport has long been the pinnacle of car culture, where the fastest, most advanced machines are pushed to their limits by skilled drivers. From Formula One to Le Mans, the world of racing has traditionally been dominated by gasoline-powered cars. But as the automotive world shifts toward electric power, motorsport is also undergoing a transformation. One of the most significant developments in motorsport is the rise of Formula E, the all-electric racing series that's quickly gaining popularity around the world. Formula E features electric-powered race cars that compete on street circuits in cities like Paris, New York, and Hong Kong. Unlike traditional racing, where the roar of engines fills the air, Formula E races are marked by the futuristic whine of electric motors and the high-pitched screech of tires. While some racing purists might miss the sound and fury of traditional engines, Formula E has proven that electric racing can be just as thrilling, with tight battles, strategic energy management, and intense overtakes. And it's not just Formula E, other racing series, like Extreme E and Electric Touring Car Championships, are gaining momentum. But the future of motorsport might take an even more radical turn with the development of autonomous racing. Imagine a world where the fastest cars on the planet are driven not by humans, but by AI. Autonomous racing leagues like RoboRace are already testing the limits of self-driving technology in a competitive environment. These races feature fully autonomous electric cars that navigate the track using advanced sensors, machine learning, and real-time data processing. For some enthusiasts, the idea of driverless racing feels like a betrayal of what motorsport is all about, the connection between driver and machine. But for others, autonomous racing represents the cutting edge of technology and a glimpse into the future of transportation. While it might not replace traditional racing, autonomous competitions could coexist alongside human-driven motorsport, offering a new kind of excitement for tech lovers and speed enthusiasts alike. While electric and autonomous cars are shaping the future, there's still a deep and abiding love for classic cars. For many enthusiasts, vintage and classic cars represent the golden age of driving, an era when cars were built with passion, character, and mechanical precision. As electric vehicles become the norm, the value and allure of classic cars are only expected to grow. Whether it's a 60s Mustang, a 90s JDM import, or an Italian supercar, classic cars offer a visceral driving experience that modern vehicles can't replicate. The sound of the engine, the smell of gasoline, and the feel of analog controls make these cars timeless. But even the world of classic cars is evolving. One of the most interesting trends in the enthusiast community is the rise of EV restaurants, classic cars that have been converted to electric power. Companies like Electric Classic Cars and Lunaz are leading the charge, offering electric conversions for everything from vintage Porsches to old Land Rovers. For some, this is the best of both worlds, the beauty and charm of a classic car with the reliability and eco-friendliness of electric power. Purists might balk at the idea of swapping a V8 for an electric motor, but for others, it's a way to keep these beloved vehicles on the road for years to come. In the end, the future of car culture is as diverse and vibrant as ever. From EV tuning and autonomous racing to virtual car meets and classic restorations, there's no shortage of ways for enthusiasts to express their passion. The cars might be changing, but the love for driving, creativity, and community will continue to drive car culture forward. We've explored a lot in today's video, from the rise of electric vehicles and autonomous driving to the evolving nature of car culture. So, what's the verdict? Is driving for fun dead? Well, the answer isn't as simple as a yes or no. In some ways, the driving experience is changing drastically, especially as environmental concerns push us toward more sustainable forms of transportation. Gone are the days when gasoline-powered cars ruled the roads, and the unmistakable roar of a V8 engine was the soundtrack to our commutes. But while the vehicles themselves may be evolving, the essence of driving for fun, that sense of freedom, adventure, and connection with the road, is still very much alive. It's just taking on new forms. Let's take a moment to recap the key takeaways from our debate. Environmental concerns have undeniably reshaped the automotive world. Governments are tightening emissions regulations, cities are rolling out bans on gasoline cars, and consumers are becoming more eco-conscious. But rather than killing car culture, these changes are steering it in a new direction. Electric vehicles are at the forefront of this transformation, offering not only greener alternatives but also thrilling new driving experiences. The instant torque, silent power, and cutting-edge tech of EVs are sparking excitement among a new generation of car lovers. For them, performance and fun are evolving, but they're far from gone. Sure, there's nostalgia for the classic roar of internal combustion engines, but as we've seen, car culture has always been adaptable. Just as we embrace turbochargers, all-wheel drive, and fuel injection, we're now embracing electrification and automation. Change is part of the journey. Electric vehicles and autonomous driving technology are rewriting the rules of the road, but that doesn't mean the joy of driving is disappearing. In fact, many argue that EVs, with their immediate power delivery and futuristic tech, bring a new kind of fun to the table. We're talking about sub-2-second 0 to 60 miles per hour times, incredible acceleration, and a driving experience that feels like something out of a sci-fi movie. Autonomous driving is another hot topic. While some fear that self-driving cars could take the excitement out of driving, others see it as an opportunity to make commuting less stressful while leaving room for the fun parts of driving when you actually want to engage. Imagine choosing when you drive, whether it's for a track day or a weekend road trip, and letting the car handle the dull parts of daily life. It's a new kind of freedom. One of the most important takeaways from today's debate is that car culture is far from dead. Yes, the cars we love are changing, but the core elements of the culture, community, passion, and creativity are still very much alive. Whether it's customizing an electric vehicle, attending EV meets, or diving into the world of sim racing, car enthusiasts are finding new ways to express their love for driving. Virtual car culture, with platforms like eRacing and Gran Turismo, is booming, offering new forms of engagement that blur the lines between the physical and digital worlds. Even motorsport is evolving, with the rise of electric racing series like Formula E and Extreme E, and even autonomous racing competitions. For those who crave speed and excitement, there's plenty to look forward to in the world of modern motorsport. And let's not forget about classic cars. The love for vintage vehicles remains strong, with many enthusiasts turning to EV conversions to breathe new life into old classics. Whether you're restoring a 70s muscle car or converting it to electric power, the passion for cars is as vibrant as ever. Ultimately, the future of driving and car culture is incredibly diverse. From hyper-performance EVs to autonomous commuting pods, from classic car restorations to virtual racing leagues, there's something for everyone. Driving for fun might not look the same as it did 20 or 30 years ago, but that's not a bad thing, it's just different. For some, the future will be about silent, high-tech electric cars that offer thrilling acceleration and cutting-edge innovation. For others, it will be about the nostalgia of classic gasoline-powered cars, whether restored to their original glory or converted to electric. And for many, the fun will take place in the virtual world, where sim racing and esports bring the excitement of driving into the digital age. So, to answer the question, is driving for fun dead? Absolutely not! It's simply changing, adapting, and evolving with the times. For those who are passionate about cars, there will always be ways to find joy in driving, whether that's through the roar of a classic V8, the thrill of instant electric torque, or the precision of sim racing. Car culture is resilient, creative, and ever-changing. It's not just about the cars we drive, it's about the people, the passion, and the experiences we share along the way. Whether you're a gearhead, a tech lover, or just someone who enjoys a good road trip, there's a place for you in the future of driving. So, what do you think? Is driving for fun still alive and kicking, or do you think it's changing beyond recognition? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the future of driving, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more, and share this video with your fellow car enthusiasts. Thanks for watching, and until next time, drive safe and have fun out there.